important things about the Matrix and about the abilities that Neo has is he's incredibly powerful. I mean, he's almost like a Superman kind of character. Already by the end of the first movie, he can fly and do, you know, stop bullets in the air and things like that. So it's something that we really, at the very beginning of this game, we spent a lot of time discussing how can we make the fighting system really cool, how can we make you feel much more superhero than before. The reality is it got very complicated because we were hoping we could reuse a lot of the stuff we'd done before, but that was for a mere mortal. This is for Neo, so we had to go back and do a lot of new motion capture. And the vision, I guess, was to try to make it so that you could blend the fighting with the weapons with the fighting with your hands and feet, so that you can kind of mix it up. You can get creative almost with it. So you're fighting the guy, you're pulling off really cool moves, but then you pull your guns out, and the way the controls work in the game, you hold down a key to hold your guns out so that you can put them in and out so easily while you're actually fighting. So the idea is you mix it all up, and in that, we wanted it then to give you even more levels. So if you're a guy that can handle a Tekken or you can handle, you know, a fighting game, we're there with you. We have a whole ton of moves that you can reach for. The fighting system that we have, in a lot of games they kind of hang away from you and people kind of leave you alone and you just fight one person at a time. In this game, I can be punching one person, and then I see another guy off to my side. I can turn and strike him. I could grab this guy and this guy, tie them together, reach and grab another guy and throw them into them. I can take my sword out and stick it into this guy, and while he's staggering away with a sword in him, I turn around and punch another guy, then I reach back, grab my sword, and kill the third guy. There's all kinds of moves, and that's really the way we want people to play the game. We want them to think about fighting multiple people at once. What's really cool though, and this is I guess the most important part of making games based on a property that someone loves, is that it would be, I think it would do a disservice to the Matrix if we were to start tweaking it ourselves. Like, you don't want David Perry's Matrix, you want the real Matrix. So we can only do that by getting the directors involved. And what they've done is they've laid out a path of all of the key scenes that someone would expect in a Matrix game, especially leaning very heavily on movie one, because there's so many cool things go on in movie one. They lay out this path, but then they have all these other places that they would have gone if their movies were 10 hours long. They would have taken you to all these other places, and some of them are really very surprising. Some are inspired by the Animatrix. Some of them are training programs that you know, they never showed in the movie at all. And as you're following down that path and experiencing all these new things, that pretty much guarantees you that even though you think you know the path of Neo, you're going to be guaranteed surprised. The biggest surprise is going to come at the very end, however, because we all think we know how the Matrix ends. We think we know how that final sequence works. But the Wachowski brothers are actually going to pause the game and come on screen and talk to you and explain to you why they've changed the ending of the game. And they, being gamers, have a very clear sort of vision of what they want the ending of the game to be. They want it to be gameplay and fun. So that's something else you're going to get. So we have the path of Neo, we have surprises, and then we have a whole new ending to the trilogy. That's what working with the directors does for you. While we've been making this game, we've really we've tried to put as many of the key places in that you would want to visit. We've even gone to a few places that you got to see in our last game, because this time we've got to do it the way we wanted to do it. And we've been able to put more people on it and more resources into it, and as a result, I think you'll be quite surprised. Like, Trinity might be fighting with you, and so the directors said, you know, agents will always dodge your bullets. If you shoot at an agent, you're just never going to hit him. But if I distract him and he starts shooting at me and I dodge the bullets, so I bend over backwards, and you can do that. We have a button combination. You can bend over backwards anytime you like. He starts offloading his clip my way. Trinity can come around behind him and shoot him literally in his back and take down an agent. So there's interesting ways that they never really investigated in the movie, but to follow with all the rules, and you get to experiment with that in the game. The way the game follows the Matrix is interesting, because we started off, the design was that we would start off as Neo in his office when he gets the Federal Express and he takes out a cell phone and Morpheus is talking to him. And that was the idea, but the Wachowskis actually chose to start even earlier than that. We're like, really? So what do you mean? And they basically said they want to start in Neo's dream when he's asleep at his keyboard. And he's actually having premonitions of the lobby scene that's coming up. He's kind of got this weird, dreamy version of it in his head. And so they basically said to us, why is it in video games that you have to just choose easy, medium, or difficult? What's all that about? I mean, if you're not very good and you choose difficult and the game's too difficult and you don't like the game because of it, that's a crazy thing. Why do people do that? Why don't you prove it? And so, you know, that's what we want for this game. We want you to if you want to be the one and you want to select the one, you have to prove it. And that's what happens when you're in his dream. You're put into this lobby, and the lobby's all dreamy, things are moving around, the pillars are changing, it's all very strange. But while you're in there, we serve you enemy after enemy after enemy, ranking up to agents. And we just see how you do. And it's so fun to watch because people don't know what the keys are, they don't know anything, they literally like, what is going on? And from that, we just watch. And if you do very, very well, it would say, hey, you know, you have passed easy, and we're offering normal as well. Or you can retry. And you can retry as often as you like, but you cannot choose the one unless you're the one. That's the point. The game is going to be out this Christmas. It's going to be on PlayStation 2. It's going to be on the Xbox and PC. And I hope you enjoy it.